Fiancé betrayed his partner to win admiration. Her comeback left him heartbroken. Alicia Carter smoothed down her burgundy dress as she stepped into the grand ballroom of the Westfield Convention Center. The annual tech industry gala was in full swing, with crystal chandeliers casting elegant shadows across marble floors. Her fiancé, Devin Harrison, walked beside her with his hand resting lightly on her lower back, his smile wide and confident. "Remember, these connections are everything," Devin whispered as they approached the bar. "Tonight could change our entire future." Alicia nodded, her engagement ring catching the light. They had been together for 3 years, engaged for 8 months, and she had never seen Devin this animated. His startup consulting firm was gaining traction, and tonight he was hoping to impress potential investors and industry leaders. A group of well-dressed professionals gathered near the windows, their laughter punctuating the soft jazz music. Devin steered her toward them, his grip tightening slightly. "There's Richard Morrison, the venture capitalist I told you about. And that's Daniel Chen. He runs the biggest tech accelerator on the West Coast." As they approached, Alicia felt Devin's demeanor shift. His posture became more rigid, his smile more calculated. "Gentlemen," Devin called out, extending his hand. "Devin Harrison. We met briefly at the Stanford Symposium last month." Richard Morrison turned, his expression politely interested. He was in his 50s, with silver hair and an expensive suit that spoke of old money. "Ah, yes, the consulting firm. You had some interesting ideas about market disruption." "Exactly," Devin said eagerly. "I'd love to discuss them further. This is my companion for the evening, Alicia." Companion. The word struck Alicia like a slap. Not fiancé, not the woman he was planning to marry, just companion, as if she were hired help or a casual date. "Lovely to meet you," Richard said, barely glancing at her before turning back to Devin. "So tell me more about your client acquisition strategy." Alicia stood silently as the men launched into business talk, their words becoming a blur of jargon and statistics. She caught Devin's eye once, a question forming on her lips, but he looked away quickly, laughing at something Daniel had said. The evening continued in the same pattern. Devin introduced her to investor after investor, colleague after colleague, but never once mentioned their engagement. He called her his friend to one group, his date to another, and simply Alicia to most, offering no explanation of their relationship. When Marcus Webb, a prominent tech CEO, asked how long they had known each other, Devin's answer made her blood run cold. "Oh, we've been casually seeing each other for a while. Nothing too serious. I'm really focused on building my business right now." Alicia felt the room tilt slightly. Casually seeing each other. Nothing serious. She looked down at the diamond ring on her finger, wondering if she had imagined the proposal 8 months ago, the apartment they shared, the wedding plans they had started making. As Devin continued networking, moving from group to group with practiced ease, Alicia realized something devastating. He was ashamed of her. Or rather, he was ashamed of being committed to her. In this world of ambitious professionals and venture capital, a fiancé represented settling down, losing focus, being tied down, and Devin wanted to appear hungry, available, completely dedicated to his career. She excused herself quietly and walked to the bathroom, her heels clicking against the marble floor. In the mirror, she saw a woman she barely recognized, someone who had allowed herself to become invisible. Alicia sat across from Tasha at their favorite brunch spot, sunlight streaming through the windows. Her sister studied her face with growing concern, the pancakes on her plate forgotten. "He did what?" Tasha's voice rose above the ambient chatter. "He introduced me as his companion, his friend, his date, everything except his fiancée," Alicia repeated, stirring her coffee mechanically. "For 4 hours, he pretended our engagement didn't exist." Tasha reached across the table and grabbed her hand. "Alicia, that's not just rude, that's betrayal." "What did he say when you confronted him?" The memory of that conversation still stung. They had ridden home in silence, the tension thick between them. When Alicia finally asked why he had hidden their engagement, Devon had exploded. He said, "I was being dramatic," Alicia continued, her voice hollow. He claimed that in the business world, being engaged makes you look less dedicated, less hungry. He said investors want to back people who are completely focused on success, not planning weddings. "That's manipulation," Tasha said flatly. Marcus Zuckerberg was married. Jeff Bezos was married. Bill Gates was married. Successful people have families, Alicia. Devon is feeding you lies to justify his selfishness. Alicia wanted to argue, to defend the man she had agreed to marry, but the words wouldn't come, because deep down, she knew Tasha was right. This wasn't about business strategy or investor psychology. This was about Devon wanting to appear unattached, available, free from commitments that might make him seem less desirable to the world he was trying to impress. "It's not just the gala," Alicia admitted quietly. "I've been thinking about other things, like how he always posts photos of himself alone on social media, never us together, or how he introduced me to his college friends last month as someone he's been hanging out with. I thought I was overthinking it, but now you see the pattern," Tasha finished. "He wants the comfort and support of a relationship in private, but the image of being single and available in public." The waiter refilled their coffee, and Alicia watched the dark liquid swirl in her cup. She thought about all the times she had made excuses for Devon's behavior, convincing herself that she was being too sensitive or not understanding the pressures he faced. But the truth was simpler and more painful. Devon was ashamed of their relationship because he thought it made him look weak. "What are you going to do?" Tasha asked gently. Alicia looked up, meeting her sister's eyes. For the first time in months, she felt a spark of something she had lost. "I'm going to remind him exactly what he's losing." Tasha's expression shifted from concern to curiosity. "What do you mean?" "Devon thinks being engaged to me makes him look less impressive," Alicia said, a plan forming in her mind. "I'm going to show him, and everyone in his precious networking circle, exactly how wrong he is. And then I'm going to walk away while he watches everything he took for granted disappear." Over the next hour, the sisters planned. Tasha's connections in the non-profit sector, combined with Alicia's own achievements as an elementary school teacher and volunteer coordinator, provided the foundation. Alicia had spent so much time supporting Devon's ambitions that she had forgotten her own worth. That was about to change. 3 weeks later, Alicia stood on a small stage at the Community Arts Center, accepting an award for her work developing after-school programs for underprivileged children. The local news had covered the story, and the mayor himself had presented the recognition. Alicia wore a confident smile, her shoulders back, her voice steady as she thanked the community for their support. Devon hadn't come to the ceremony. He claimed he had an important client meeting, though Alicia suspected he simply didn't think her achievement was significant enough. That realization no longer hurt. It clarified everything. The coverage went viral locally. A journalist from the City magazine reached out, wanting to feature Alicia in their 30 Under 30 Community Leaders edition. The interview ran with photos of her with the children she mentored. Her accomplishments listed impressively: master's degree in education, 3 years of volunteer work, creator of a literacy program that had helped over 200 children, an engagement with multiple non-profit boards. Tasha texted her a screenshot of Devon's LinkedIn profile. He had shared the article, tagging Alicia and writing, "So proud of my amazing fiancé and her dedication to our community. Now he claims you," Tasha's message read, followed by an eye-roll emoji. Alicia stared at the post. Suddenly, now that she had public recognition, Devon was eager to associate himself with her. The hypocrisy was breathtaking. For months he had hidden their relationship, but the moment her achievements brought positive attention, he wanted to bask in the reflected glory. Her phone rang. Devon. Hey babe, I just saw the article. It's incredible. His voice bubbled with enthusiasm. Why didn't you tell me the magazine was doing such a big feature? This is amazing publicity. You knew about the award ceremony, Alicia said calmly. You chose not to come. I had that meeting, remember? But this is different. This is major press. Listen, Richard Morrison saw the article. He was really impressed. He mentioned maybe doing some corporate social responsibility partnerships with your program. This could be huge for both of us. There it was. Devon wasn't proud of her achievements. He was excited about how he could leverage them for his own benefit. That's interesting, Alicia said, her voice neutral. Actually, I've been meaning to talk to you about something. Sure, what's up? I think we should make a public appearance together. As an engaged couple. There's a charity gala next month that several investors will be attending, including Richard Morrison and Daniel Chen. I've been invited to speak about the literacy program. I'd love for you to be there as my fiancé. The pause on the other end was telling. Alicia could practically hear Devon's mind working, weighing the social capital of being associated with her public recognition against his desire to appear unattached. Of course, he finally said, his tone slightly forced. I wouldn't miss it. Wonderful, Alicia replied. I'll send you the details. Oh, and Devon, this time I expect you to introduce me properly as your fiancé, the woman you're planning to marry. Can you do that? Another pause. Sure, absolutely. Alicia hung up, a small smile playing on her lips. The trap was set. Devon had no idea what was coming, but she did. And for the first time in months, she felt completely in control. The Metropolitan Grand Hotel glittered with elegance as guests arrived for the annual Community Champions Gala. Alicia stood near the entrance, stunning in a fitted emerald gown that highlighted her confidence more than her curves. Beside her stood Tasha, along with several colleagues from her non-profit work. Devon arrived 20 minutes late, slightly breathless and adjusting his tie. Sorry, traffic was terrible, he said, kissing her cheek. His eyes scanned the room, already identifying the important people he wanted to network with. No problem, Alicia said smoothly. Come meet some people before my speech. She guided him toward a group that included Richard Morrison, Daniel Chen, and several other investors Devon had been trying to impress for months. But this time, the context was different. They weren't here to listen to Devon's pitch. They were here to honor Alicia's work. Gentlemen, I'd like you to meet my fiancé, Devon Harrison, Alicia said clearly, emphasizing the word fiancé. Ah, yes. The consultant, Richard said, shaking Devon's hand. Alicia's told us about your work. Though I must say, what she's accomplished with limited resources is far more impressive than most startups I've funded. Real impact is rare. Devon's smile faltered slightly. Thank you. Alicia is incredible. She certainly is, Daniel added. We were just discussing the possibility of creating a foundation to expand her literacy program nationwide. It's the kind of scalable social impact that could change education fundamentally. For the next 30 minutes, the conversation revolved around Alicia's work, her vision, her strategies. Devon stood beside her, contributing occasionally but clearly no longer the center of attention. She watched him grow increasingly uncomfortable as he realized these powerful men were far more interested in her than in him. When it was time for speeches, Alicia took the stage. The room quieted as she spoke about the children she worked with, the families she had helped, the community she had built. Her words were eloquent and passionate, painting a picture of dedication and impact that resonated with everyone present. None of this would have been possible without support, she said, nearing her conclusion. But I've learned something important over the past year. True support isn't conditional. It doesn't disappear when it's inconvenient or when acknowledging it might affect someone's image. True support celebrates success publicly and stands proud during challenges. She paused, her eyes finding Devon in the crowd. He looked confused, uncertain where this was going. "Which is why I need to make an announcement tonight," Alicia continued, her voice steady. "I recently ended my engagement to someone who loved the idea of me in private but was ashamed of me in public. Someone who wanted my support but not my presence. Someone who taught me the most valuable lesson: never shrink yourself to fit someone else's insecurity." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Devon's face went pale, then red, as he realized what was happening. "I'm grateful for that relationship," Alicia said, "because it taught me to value myself. It taught me that I deserve someone who's proud to stand beside me, not someone who only claims me when it's beneficial." She held up her left hand, now bare of the engagement ring. "To anyone else struggling with being enough for someone else, you are enough. You've always been enough. And anyone who makes you feel otherwise doesn't deserve you." The applause was thunderous. Devon found Alicia after the speech, his eyes red-rimmed and desperate. They stood in a quiet hallway away from the celebration, the sounds of the gala muffled by heavy doors. "How could you do that?" His voice cracked with emotion. "You humiliated me in front of everyone important to my career." Alicia looked at him calmly, feeling surprisingly little anger. Mostly, she felt relief. "I told the truth, Devon. Every word I said was accurate. You made me look like a terrible person. I described your behavior. If that makes you look terrible, perhaps the behavior was the problem." Devon ran his hands through his hair, pacing the narrow hallway. "You don't understand. Those people, Richard, Daniel, Marcus, they're going to think I'm some kind of manipulative jerk. My reputation is destroyed. Your reputation." Alicia's voice remained even. "For 8 months, you hid our engagement because you were worried it would hurt your reputation. You introduced me as a companion, a friend, anything but your fiancé, because you thought commitment made you look weak. You only acknowledged our relationship publicly when my achievements could benefit you. And now you're worried about your reputation." Tears began streaming down Devon's face. "I was wrong. I know I was wrong, but I love you, Alicia. I was just scared and stupid and so desperate to succeed that I couldn't see what I was doing." "You love me?" Alicia asked quietly. "Devon, you can't love someone and be ashamed of them at the same time. Love doesn't hide. Love doesn't diminish. Love doesn't pretend." "I was never ashamed of you," he protested weakly. "Yes, you were. You were ashamed that I'm a teacher instead of a CEO. You were ashamed that my work doesn't come with a 6-figure salary. You were ashamed that committing to me made you look less available, less hungry, less focused. You wanted me to be your secret support system while you played the ambitious bachelor for everyone who mattered to your career." Devon slumped against the wall, his expensive suit suddenly looking rumpled. "What do I do? How do I fix this?" "You can't fix this," Alicia said gently. "Not with me. What you can do is learn from it. Stop measuring your worth by other people's opinions. Stop treating relationships like strategic assets. Stop being so terrified of vulnerability that you sacrifice the people who care about you. Please," Devon whispered. "Give me another chance. I'll do better. I'll be better." Alicia felt a pang of sympathy, but it wasn't enough to change her mind. "You need to be better for yourself, Devon. Not for me. Not for investors. Not for anyone else's approval. Until you figure out who you are when nobody's watching, you're not ready for a real relationship." She turned to leave, but Devon's voice stopped her. "I really did love you. I still do." Alicia looked back at him, this man she had planned to marry, now crying in a hotel hallway. "I believe you loved me as much as you were capable of, but you loved your image more. And that's why this is goodbye." She walked away, her heels clicking against marble, leaving Devon to face the consequences of his choices. 6 months later, Alicia stood in the newly opened literacy center, watching children pour through the doors for the afternoon program. The space was bright and welcoming, with colorful murals on the walls and shelves packed with books. Thanks to the foundation, funding secured after the gala, her small after-school program had expanded into a full-fledged community center serving 500 children across the city. Tasha appeared beside her, holding 2 cups of coffee. "Remember when you thought your biggest achievement was getting Devon to commit?" she teased gently. Alicia laughed, accepting the cup. "I can't believe that was only a year ago. I feel like a completely different person." "You are a different person. Or rather, you're the person you always were before you started shrinking yourself." They walked through the center together, greeting volunteers and stopping to admire student artwork. Alicia felt a contentment she hadn't experienced in years, a sense of purpose that had nothing to do with anyone else's approval. Her phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Against her better judgment, she opened it. It was from Devon. "I saw the article about the new center. Congratulations. You're doing amazing things. I'm genuinely happy for you, and I'm sorry for everything. You deserved better." Alicia read the message twice. There was no manipulation in the words, no attempt to win her back, just an acknowledgement and an apology. She showed it to Tasha. "Are you going to respond?" her sister asked. "No," Alicia said, deleting the message. "That chapter's closed. I hope he's doing well. I hope he's learned something, but it's not my concern anymore." As the afternoon progressed, Alicia moved through the center, helping with homework, reading stories, and watching young minds light up with discovery. This was what mattered. Not impressing investors or climbing social ladders or proving her worth to people who should have recognized it. From the beginning, Richard Morrison had become an unexpected mentor, helping her navigate the non-profit world and introducing her to other philanthropists. Daniel Chen served on her board. Even Marcus Webb, whom she had met that first terrible night at the gala, had become a supporter. These relationships, built on mutual respect and shared values, felt authentic in a way her relationship with Devon never had. Later that evening, as she locked up the center, Alicia paused to look at the bronze plaque by the entrance. Community Literacy Center, founded by Alicia Carter, 2024. Her name, her achievement, her impact. No one could take it away or diminish it or pretend it didn't matter. She thought briefly about Devon, wondering if he ever understood what he had lost. But the thought passed quickly, replaced by excitement for tomorrow's programs, next month's fundraiser, next year's expansion plans. Alicia had spent too long defining herself through someone else's eyes, shrinking to fit someone else's vision of who she should be. Never again. She was enough. She had always been enough. And now, finally, she believed it. As she walked to her car under the streetlights, Alicia smiled. The future stretched before her, full of possibility and purpose. And this time, she was walking into it on her own terms. The end.